Kings FM 88.5, just for you.
A pleasant afternoon. Thank you so very kindly that you joined us for King's Newsroom at 1 on this 26th day of September. I'm Sam Andrews. The top stories. The Lutheran Church in Liberia backs its bishop after he was indicted by the Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission over financial irregularity. The Liberia Drug Enforcement Agency confiscates 480 packs of tramadol drug at Tierney checkpoint in Grand Cape County. The Public Procurement and Concession Commission reportedly gave contracts value 12 million United States dollars to Liberian-owned companies since the introduction of the digital procurement platform. And Camper-based PROSA is challenging members of the Liberian legislature to intervene in the delay surrounding the resumption of classes at the university. These are the top stories. The bulletin next up. The Lutheran Church in Liberia has backed its Bishop Victor Patmo after he was indicted by Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission over financial irregularity at Lofa County University. The church said Bishop Victor Patmo would no doubt submit to the judicial process to clear his name. The Lutheran Church reaffirms its dedication to accountability, transparency, and the rule of law, while calling for speedy adjudication to ensure all accused persons face due process. According to the Secretary General, Duekedo, the Lutheran Church of Liberia called for the judicial process to run its course so that Bishop Victor Patmo and all other accused persons can go through the legal process and those found culpable be held accountable. The Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission indictment comes from an investigation which uncovered alleged financial irregularity of approximately 410,000 United States dollars and 13.3 million Liberian dollars at Lofa County University. On September 2nd this year, the 10th Judicial Circuit Court, Lofa County, indicted Dr. Isaac Porter, president of Lofa County University, former President Dr. Samuel Ngama, and several senior officials, including Bishop Patmo, over alleged financial irregularity. The Liberia Drug Enforcement Agency has confiscated 480 packs of tramadol drug at Tierney checkpoint in Grand Cape County. The 40 cartons of illicit substance were discovered hidden aboard a petroleum tanker belonging to the Kalondo Petroleum Company, owned by George Kalondo. The vehicle has been impounded, while the Liberia Drug Enforcement Agency said it is investigating the circumstances surrounding the discovery. As part of its heightened response, the Liberia Drug Enforcement Agency has intensified rigorous security checks at all border points to curb the inflow of dangerous substance into Liberia. The agency has extended invitation to George Kalondo to appear at its head office for a conversation regarding the matter. The Liberia Drug Enforcement Agency is also encouraging the people of Liberia to continue sharing timely information with the agency, stressing that community cooperation remains critical as the fight against drug traffickers and distributors intensify. Meanwhile, George Kalondo has refuted the report of boxes of tramadol allegedly discovered in his trucks, claiming of having no knowledge. Last Thursday afternoon, it was reported that about 40 cartons of tramadol were confiscated from one of Calondo petroleum trucks at Tierney checkpoint in Grand Cape County. Speaking to reporters in Congo Town, Josh Kalondo said it was without his knowledge that the truck had gone to distribute products outside of Monrovia for petrol trade, and he later found out it was rented to an individual. Mr. Kalondo said having no idea how drugs enter in his truck, adding it was shocking after receiving a call from the Liberia National Police about the incident. The Public Procurement and Concession Commission of Liberia has reportedly given contracts value 12 million United States dollars to Liberia-owned companies since the introduction of the digital procurement platform for about 6 ministries and agencies. The executive director of the commission, Borges Johnson, disclosed that about 50 ministries, commissions, bureaus, and authorities are expected to be placed on the digital procurement by the end of the year. Mr. Johnson made the disclosure at programs marking the observance of the 20th anniversary of the Public Procurement and Concession Commission in Monrovia. The PPCC executive director assured the public that the money will be used for the public good because it will help curb corruption in procurement procedures. The campus-based student group, Progressive Student Alliance, is challenging members of the legislature to intervene in the delays surrounding the resumption of classes at the University of Liberia. Speaking on the grounds of the Capitol building in Monrovia, the students expressed frustration over what they described as government's failure to value their education through timely renovation and reopening of the institution. The students lamented that the University of Liberia still lacks basic academic facilities, including a standard laboratory for research. They also noted that latrines on the campus remain in a deplorable condition, posing serious health risks for students and others. According to PROSA spokesperson, the current situation undermines the credibility of Liberia's premier state-run university and requires urgent government attention. The group is calling on the authorities, especially the legislature, to raise their voices and ensure the University of Liberia resume operation without further delay. The students warn that if their demands are not met, their next protest will resemble what they call a flashback of the June 16, 1976 Soweto uprising in South Africa. The Liberia National Fire Service has disclosed that its investigators were denied entry into the 9th Street residence of former Liberian President George Weah upon their return following a fire outbreak early Wednesday morning. The blaze, which engulfed the former president's home, was brought under control with the combined efforts of firefighters and community residents. According to a statement released, the Liberia National Fire Service said its team had gone back to the scene to conduct an assessment and determine the cause of the fire outbreak, but was prevented from entering the compound. It further said on the morning of September 24th, fire investigators went there to ascertain the cause of the fire, but did not get the reception needed. Academic activities at William V.S. Totmon High School on Torres Street in Sinka was disrupted on Thursday after students and administrators discovered blood stain on the walls and floor of the classrooms. The unexpected scene created panic among the students, with some reportedly fainting after witnessing or seeing the blood. Authorities of the Monrovia Consolidated School System immediately ordered the suspension of classes, directing students to return home. Samuel Yenna, Communications Director of the Monrovia Consolidated School System, told reporters that initial accounts from campus security suggests the incident may have stemmed from a burglary. He said thieves were reportedly pursued by security officers, which may have resulted in the bloodstain on the floor. He added that the MCC had notified the Liberia National Police and an investigation is underway to determine what transpired. The management of Liberia Petroleum Refining Company has unveiled plans aimed at constructing storage facilities in Nimba, Maryland, and Sino counties. The consultant in the office of the managing director, Maxwell Grisby, disclosed that the company would shortly send an assessment team to Nimba, Maryland, and Sino counties so as to stabilize the prices of petroleum products throughout Liberia. Anthony at-Law Grisby made the disclosure when he defended the government's decision to reduce storage fees at the Movement for Intellectual Exchange in Claratown. According to him, the government hopes to raise millions of United States dollars in paying for the Caterpillar machines and $3 million United States dollars towards social matters. The Global Methodist Church has begun the distribution of medical equipment to several clinics in Bong and Nimba counties. The superintendent of Global Methodist Church, Pastor Jerry Kula, disclosed that a 40-feet container, which was shipped to Liberia at the cost of 30,000 United States dollars, contains beds, delivery beds with chairs, walking sticks, beddings, operations among machines, among others. Speaking in an interview with reporters on Thursday, Bishop Kula explained that the distribution of medical equipment falls in one of the visions of the church. The medical equipment will be distributed to both government-owned, private, and faith-based clinics and those operated by the Global Methodist Church. And the Solomon Renning Movement, or Citizens Movement for We Are 2029, says President Joseph Yoma Boakai government has declared war, not on corruption or drugs, but on the very voices of opposition that sustains Liberia's democracy. The group recalled that in February 2024, former President George Weah was denied his constitutional right to return home when his plane was refused landing rights at Roberts International Airport. Again, on September 22nd this year, citizens gathered at the airport to welcome him were tear-gassed, brutalized, and arrested by state security. According to the movement, matters worsened on September 24th when former President Weah's life was nearly lost in a treacherous arson attack at his residence, an act they described as state-sponsored terrorism. They argue that such incidents reveal a government that is fearful of its people and bent on silencing opposition dissent. Further allegations were raised against Deputy Youth and Sports Minister Brian McGill, accused of raping a 14-year-old girl in his office. The movement condemned Police Inspector General Gregory Coleman for allegedly shielding the accused while remaining silent on the arson attack against the former president. Let's bring you the voices of those behind the news. The Liberia Drug Enforcement Agency has confiscated 480 packs of tramadol drugs at Tianin Checkpoint in Grand Kidman County. The cartons of illicit substance were discovered hidden aboard a petroleum truck belonging to Kalondo Petroleum Company, which is owned by George Kalondo. In response, he denied any involvement with the drugs, saying he is innocent.
These products were not even purchased from our company. They were purchased from petrol trade. Had a product from petrol trade, 500 gallons and 3,000 gallons, total of 4,000 gallons, got into our truck that is supposed to be packed. But according to Cassie's a distributor, this man was looking for trucks. That's how they gave our truck. There's another agent for petrol trade. He talked with this Cassie guy. Cassie is a distributor. They were looking for a car that how they put this 4,000 gallons with the understanding that they are going to go bring the money from wherever they were carrying the product. I did not know. All I know, my trucks should be packed until this morning when all the things. After police got to know that, I got to know that police, you understand, have arrested my truck. I got to know that the man who took the product told the driver that he had money to come to bring the money back to Monrovia, according to Cassie. When I got to know this morning, I called him directly and told him to go to the police station to report himself. Cassie, the driver, the man who bought the product, they are all with the police. To the best of my knowledge, the guy said the driver, neither Cassie does not know nothing about what transpired. According to Cassie, the driver, when he arrived in Tenny, the Grand Cape man, the owner of the product told the guy that he had money to bring to Monrovia. That how the guy allowed him to put those boxes. That's to my door. Later we got to know now. I had to put it into the truck to come. We don't know nothing about it. My truck should have been packed at Johnsonville. How it went down there, it's only a mystery.
So you don't know anything about this?
Nothing. Nothing. In fact, it's the police that informed me this morning that my truck was in Tenny, to be exact, that there were drugs on the truck. How is that possible?
George Calondo, owner of Calondo Petroleum Company. The Liberia National Fire Service has disclosed that its investigators were denied entry into the 9th Street residence of former Liberian President George Weah upon their return following a fire outbreak early Wednesday morning at his residence. The blaze, which engulfed the former president's home, was brought under control by combined efforts of residents and firefighters. The Congress for Democratic Change, in a statement, attributed the incident to what the term government sponsor as premeditated, but the response of the government through its Deputy Minister for Public Affairs said that the former president should own up to what it termed leadership. Daniel Sando is Deputy Minister for Public Affairs.
To the effect that a fire outbreak was an attempt on the life of the former president and that it was a deliberate calculation by people believed to be associated with the government. As a government, we consider those allegations sweeping, will not respond to it. What we want to hold the former president to is the fact that the government entity that is responsible for fighting fire responded to his call, and that after the fire was extinguished, they were denied access to the scene to continue the investigation. Now, if you have your house and fire on your roof, you call the fire service, they went there, help you to extinguish a fire, and the next day they are stopped from entering because, according to you, you got reason to believe that the fire was set up by people who in the government or people from the Unity Party. It's up to you. But we just say that it's unfortunate that the former president is not leading by example. Luther Tappe, the current chairman of the Unity Party, his home was gutted by fire during the election, the campaign. He didn't stop the firefighters. What have they got to do with the politics of the country? These are people that are walking into the fire to save lives every day, and you try to politicize their work. That is not leadership on the part of the former president. It's not leadership. And we can only hope that the former president comes to the realization that he's accountable to the people who support him. When you try to play politics with everything, he's also accountable to the Liberian public, even those who don't support him. So his action now will make others to believe that this thing, all makeup, it was a sham to create an impression that you're being haunted. Only one thing can establish a cause of the fire, the investigation. The head of the NSA house, General Prince Johnson, is caught by fire in Pinsbury. So should we say that, oh, opposition will go show soon, petrol bomb to your house, you can't do that. It's just unimaginable. So many thanks to the fire service team. They've done their part, and every question that now lingers on the mind of the public will be directed to the former president because it is his house, his private residence. Maybe there are reasons why he doesn't want the investigation to continue. Because if it continues, it will either determine that the fire was started by somebody deliberate action. But I do believe to prevent future fire outbreak.
Deputy Minister for Public Affairs, Daniel Sano. The Suleiman Renin Citizens Movement for We Are 2029 said President Joseph Yema Boakar's government has declared war, not on corruption or drugs, but on the very voices of opposition that are sustaining Liberia's democracy. The group recalled in February 2024, former President Weah was denied his constitutional right to return home, coupled with other issues. According to the movement, matters worsened on September 24th when former President Weah was nearly lost in what it referred to as treacherous arson attack at his residence, an act they described as state-sponsored terrorism.
Who are gathered at Rawal International Airport to welcome their leader were brutalized, tear gas, and arrested by state security forces acting as private militias of the ruling clique. If that was not enough, on September 24, 2025, former president was nearly cut short by cowardly and treacherous arson attack in his very bedroom, an act that bears the fingerprint of the state-sponsored terrorism. Again, to our insult to injury, on August 30, 2025, the Deputy Minister of Youth and Sport, Brian McGill, was accused of raping a 14-year-old girl, the daughter of the Deputy Security Chief at the ministry. In his office, rape is non-bailable. It's a non-bailable crime. Yet, the Police Inspector General, Colonel Gregor Cuomo, has scoured shielded the accused while pretending to be blind and deaf to justice. Even more disgraceful, the Tsunami Radar Citizen Movement for We Are 2029 demands the following. 1. The immediate release of all people, citizens, and partisans arrested in the September 27 homecoming of former President Weah at the Rawal International Airport. 2. An independent international investigation into the September 24 assassination attempt on the life of President Weah in his bedroom, including suspected involvement of state security operatives. 3. The immediate dismissal and prosecution of Police Inspector General Gregor Cuomo for intentional neglect and complicity in inquiring of crimes. 4. The immediate arrest and prosecution of Brian McGill, the Deputy Minister of Youth and Sport, accused of raping a 14-year-old child.
The Public Procurement and Concession Commission of Liberia has reported that giving contracts value $12 million United States dollars to Liberian-owned companies since the introduction of the digital procurement platform for about 6 ministries and agencies. The executive director of the commission, Burgess Johnson, disclosed that about 50 ministries, commissions, bureaus are expected to be placed on the digital procurement by the end of the year. He made that disclosure at celebration marking the 20th anniversary of the Public Procurement and Concession Commission in Monrovia.
Our recent release came in 2025 February when we launched the e-government procurement system, a digital platform that has made Liberia's procurement for people technology. And I want to report that since the launch of the system in this year 2025, the system has been able to award $12 million contract through the system to Liberian-owned businesses. The system has shown transparency, accountability, and fair value for money. And currently, the system have 6 marks, 6 government entities, and now we have $12 million with just 6 entities. That's the Ministry of Finance, the Ministry of Public Works, the Ministry of Health, the Ministry of Education, the Nigerian Revenue Authority, and the PPCC. So we have time that they will conduct the award in contracts. Now this way we hope to bring 50 remarks on the platform, the same transparency and accountability. And I want to see the Office of the Excellency, our President, Joseph Mabaga, who have been very supportive of this initiative and the journey. The President has been feature launching of the e-procurement. And secondly, when the platform they say, make sure that you bring the SOEs of this platform to show transparency in the state-owned enterprise. So we're working on things. In phase 2, we are bringing in the state-owned enterprise. As we celebrate 20 years, our mission is not complete. We have organized the types of fully living at the e-procurement system nationwide. Using data analysis to draft, oversight, professional license procurement, tool certification programs, data capacity, including the activity of qualifying the system. Above all, we are going to ensure that every public ballot delivers maximum value for the Nigerian people.
Burgess Johnson, the Executive Director, the Public Procurement and Concession Commission of Liberia. It's coming up to 27 minutes after 1. You're listening to King's Newsroom on King's 88.5 with me, Sam Andrews. The top stories: the Lutheran Church in Liberia backs its bishop, Victor Patmo, after he was indicted by the Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission over financial irregularity at Lofa County University. Josh Kalondo denies having knowledge in the discovery of drugs called tramadol in one of his trucks. The Public Procurement Commission Concession Commission has given contracts over 12 million United States dollars to Liberian-owned companies since the introduction of the digital procurement platform for about 6 ministries and agencies. More stories after this break. The Global Methodist Church has begun the distribution of medical equipment to several clinics in Bong and Nima counties. The superintendent of GMC, Bishop Jerry Kula, disclosed that the 40-feet container, which was shipped to Liberia at the cost of 30,000 United States dollars, contains beds, delivery beds, wheelchairs, walking stakes, and operation machines.
They are going to the central region. We have a clinic in Bowie, there where it's going. We have there's a clinic in Gamu, there's a clinic in Belamu. So those areas when we have like supplies, like some time ago I got some bicycles. I share with you have the coordinators who go around to inform the people about different diseases and check them out. And then when they give them medicine for syphilis, like some of them are right now into the different counties right now, trying to check on them to see how they responded to the drugs. Those kind of people, you want to give them motorbikes or you want to give them bicycles and kind of thing like that. Then the equipment goes and then they share with the different clinic. Some of them are government run and some of them are privately run, like the one in Bowie, that community clinic that we are running. And so it's one of the Global Methodist Church clinics that we are running. So the equipment supplies are going there. $250,000 United States dollars. But you have an organization in the States called Project Q. So they are willing for you to supply you a 40-foot container of equipment that you can serve different hospitals and clinics with if you can only raise $30,000 to ship the equipment here. So the worth of the goods in the equipment in a 40-foot container is about $250,000 worth of equipment supply. You're talking about beds, you're talking about delivery beds, you're talking about mattresses, you're talking about different equipment like that you use, crutches and wheelchairs, tables, and other things you use in a hospital and in a clinic like that. So they tell us that it worth about $250,000, but you only have to raise $30,000 for the shipment cost. We have a partner who was willing to underwrite the cost of the $30,000.
Bishop Jerry Kula, head of Global Methodist Church, Liberia. The management of Liberia Petroleum Refining Corporation has unveiled plans to construct storage facilities in Nimba, Maryland, and Sino counties. The consultant in the office of the managing director of LPRC, Maxwell Grisby, made the disclosure.
Construction of tank and now $1, $2 thing. The 12,000 metric ton we're doing now LPRC is costing LPRC $9 million. So this sector needed people to invest. And for people to invest, they needed to have the security that there will be returns on their investment. So to motivate people to invest, sometimes you got to create attractive packages. The essence of this allowance for storage was for importers who could have paid 35 cents to LPRC but proceeded to build a tank. We wanted to give them relief so that they recover from their investment. So instead of paying 35 cents for storage, they were only charged 3 cents royalty because we were not storing their product. They were using the tank to store their own product and to increase their profit margin beyond the importers. Or every gallon will get importer margin, a profit margin, we get retailer profit margin, and we get wholesale. There's a whole list of profit margin for the business people. In excess of the importer profit margin, LPRC created an allowance where they can store other private people product, get 35 cents, and only get LPRC 3 cents. So after benefiting of this for more than 10 years, now that we have moved to domestic resource mobilization, don't you think it's fair? Don't you think it's beneficial for this country for us to close some of these corruption loopholes?
Maxwell Grisby, speaking at the Movement for Intellectual Exchange in Claratown, Thursday. The Progressive Students Alliance of the University of Liberia is calling on members of the Liberian legislature to intervene, given the delay of the resumption of classes at the university. Speaking at the Capitol building in Monrovia, the students expressed frustration over what they described as government's failure to value their education through timely renovation and reopening of the institution.
In the midst of police presence, we want to say here, the next assembly year, there will be a reintroduction on June 16, not this on the season. So by that time, there will be an overwhelming support of university students who are tired of setting home. So they always try to use the police as an instrument to instill fear and terror in the republic and instill fear and to go after conscious voices. We salute decent men in uniform. We say decent men and re-emphasize decent men in uniform. There are some police officers that allow themselves to be used at the hands of state actors to go against conscious forces. On several occasions, our institutions, our militants have been brutalized and dragged to prison. Absolutely, we have never one day in our lifetime ever felt disappointed of what we do. But never one day in our lifetime felt ashamed of what we do. Because we know what we do, and it's not a reward of man to give us. This story has our reward in the end. And so we say there's a short notice to the lawmaker. To the police officer, we say salute to decent men in uniform. To those who have been unprofessional among the police, we say to you, unprofessionalism is not the way. You must give conscious bosses the opportunity to speak out. We have a responsibility. We have a fundamental responsibility. Some of you police officers, you are students of the University of Europe. Go and see the shameful condition. Students of the university are learning in classroom where
normal academic activities at the University William V. S. Tutman High School on Torres Street was disrupted Thursday after some students and administrators discovered blood stain on the walls and floor of some of the classrooms, leaving the authorities to suspend classes and order the students to return home. Samuel Yenor is the communication director of MCSS.
The Monrovia Consolidated School System, MCSS, has received with immense concern news of an alleged burglary incident at the William V. Stockton High School. Though at the moment, information of what exactly transpired remains sketchy, the MCSS shall keep those affected by the abrupt closure of the school in its thoughts. The administration of the Monrovia Consolidated School System, MCSS, is engaged with the Labrador National Police to ascertain the facts. We admonish the public against the spreading of misinformation about the unfortunate incident, since doing so could derail the investigation. The MCSS acting superintendent, Dr. Ogari E. Stevens, along with a few members of our senior management team, were at the site this morning to ascertain the facts, offer support, and monitor the situation. In fact, to allow our security, along with the Labrador National Police, to carry out their investigation. The MCSS acting superintendent is pursued. To ensure the safety of our students, William V. Stockton High School remains closed till Sunday, September 28, 2025, pending the outcome of the investigation. Classes shall resume on Monday, September 29, 2025. All right, like I said, we received news of a burglary incident. An alleged thief who broke into the compound of the William V. Stockton High School this morning. As you all know, the William V. Stockton High School is now fully fenced, and information we received is that an alleged thief, a reported thief, broke into the school premises, and while he was being chased by the security at the school, endeavored to jump over the fence. It has a barbed wire. And while doing that, he was allegedly caught by the barbed wire that led to the profuse bleeding. The child went after him, but they could not get him. He started running from class to class.
The communications director of Monrovia Consolidated School System, Samuel Yenna. Well, that's it. That's all the time we've got for King's Newsroom on King's 88.5. Before we go, a reminder of the top stories. The Lutheran Church in Liberia backs its Bishop Victor Patmore after he was indicted by Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission over financial irregularity at Lofa County University. The church said Bishop Victor Patmore would no doubt submit to the judicial process to clear his name. The owner of George Calondo Petroleum Products has refuted reports of boxes of tramadol pills allegedly discovered in one of his trucks, claiming he has absolutely no knowledge of it. Late Thursday afternoon, it was reported that about 40 cartons of tramadol were confiscated from one of Calondo Petroleum trucks at TNA checkpoint in Grand Capeman County. The police has called him to assist the investigation. The Public Procurement and Concession Commission gives contracts worth over $12 million United States dollars to Liberian-owned companies since the introduction of the digital procurement platform for about 6 ministries and agencies. Its executive director, Borges Johnson, made the disclosure Thursday, saying about 50 ministries, commissions, bureaus, and authorities are expected to be placed on the digital procurement by the end of the year. Join us this evening at 6 for another news bulletin, King's Newsroom. Jen and Pesiman handled the technical aspect of the presentation. I'm Semanchis. Good afternoon.